Okay, I've got a 2008 Suzuki Forenza. We're going to be replacing this valve cover gasket on here today. This is the gasket I'm going to be using, this Excell Pro. I've had pretty good success. Excell Pro. Let's go ahead and take it out and look at it here. So it's kind of a weird looking gasket. Well, there it is. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get started on the car here. Okay, very first thing, we're going to pop our negative cable off here with a 10mm. Okay, as you come in here, you're going to have a shroud. This one's been removed, but you got a couple these little bolts holding it, and you'll get that up and off of there, and then that's going to reveal the valve cover here. Okay, now we're just going to start popping these wires out. Now they should have numbers on them. If they don't, you may want to take the time to label as they run so you don't get them mixed up. Should just have 1, 2, 3, and 4. But if they don't have, then go ahead and label them so you don't make any mistakes. So we're just going to pull these back over here out of the way for a moment. Okay, and we're going to get a hold of these right here. Okay, and we got a wire connector down in here. Okay, now there's a spring right here. You can see, just push that in with a flat screwdriver. Just give that a pull up. Okay, you'll note this cable running around here is for this knock sensor. Just kind of pop that up and loose. Kind of lay it back over out of the way. Okay, we got this hose here. Now, depending on the year, this will be different. I'll show you what the other one looks like. Okay, you may have look like this. It's just basically the same, except you got an O-ring that runs down to this instead of having the hose. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and start removing these E-torques, so you'll need some of these. We're going to get an E10. Okay, so we're just going to continue on removing each one of these. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start lifting this up. We'll just kind of push this power steering over a little bit. And we'll just clean this up a little bit and make sure there's no material stuck to it. And there'll be a lot of silicone in various places here. Probably going to have to dig these little pieces out from here. Okay, so just dug that first one out with a screwdriver. May have a little bit more difficulty over here. I got the coil pack in the way. Okay, and there's that back one. I just kind of stuck it in there. So we'll just clean this up a little bit now. And we're going to scrape. You notice this old silicone. I'll show you where we're going to put the new silicone. Look like they got a little bit carried away with it, but we'll go ahead and get this old stuff all wiped off and cleaned up really good. And clean this area, and then we'll clean on our valve cover a little bit. Okay, so we got it all cleaned up real good. Now we're ready to go ahead and start putting our gasket on. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and lay this into place. Now we are going to have to use a little bit of RTV, but we're not going to address that just yet. Okay, so it only pretty much go one way. And I'm going to show you, there's really only one spot you need to put the RTV. Make sure we got this down properly. We go along and double check it all and make sure that it's seated in there. We'll finish up that back side. Okay, so we double checked, it's all down into place nicely. Now on top of this gasket, you're going to have to get down here and dig these out, and your kit should come with some more. And you just pop them on there. Now they should stay in place. If they don't, take a little light dab of silicone grease or something to hold them there just till you can get it set. But this is just for your bolts. Yeah, I know this valve cover is not in the best of the shape right here where these bolts go, so I may have to get something to kind of hold these in place till I can just get it set on there, and it'll be fine. And usually this is not a problem, but the oil can leak back through where the bolts go. All right. So there we are. Okay, I wiped these areas up real good. I wiped this up with alcohol, and I used alcohol really good right here. And what I was using is just a little flat screwdriver and just delicately getting this old silicone off. And I did that on the back as well. And it's kind of time consuming, but you don't want to scratch this or this. So we're ready to go ahead. I've got some ultra gray RTV, and the only place that you have to worry about is right here, so don't put a lot. Right there at that little junction. Sometimes you got to dab this in with your finger if you can't get in there, and I'm having trouble getting in here. Okay, so let's try to do this. So right there is where you want it. Just a little dab where that little half moon piece meets up with the cylinder head. That's where you want the silicone, because that's where it's going to leak at. The gasket will do its job on the rest of it. So let's go ahead and get our valve cover over here. Okay, so here we go. Now once we get this, see there's those, they're going to set down into here, and it kind of cradles it, and it's got that seal that goes around it. Will not leak. So we're going to turn this over and carefully work it over here. Push some things back out of the way. And we just want to try to get it into place without wiggling it around a whole lot and smearing our silicone. Okay, we're just going to push that right down. We can go ahead and reattach these. And this little cable, our knock sensor. Go ahead and put that back where it goes here. It's got some little plastic notches it pops into there. Okay, so let's get our bolts over here. Okay, and we're just gonna, now I did clean these off with a little bit of gasoline. Get all that old oil off there. I've got that RTV setting up over there. I don't want to just go to cranking down on it, or it's going to just squish it out where I put it. So I'm just going to loosely snug them down with a little 1/4 inch ratchet for now, and I'm going to come back and we'll torque them down to about 70 inch-pounds. It does not have to be terribly tight. These are little bitty bolts, and the gasket is what seals it. It's not really how tight you get it. You just go to stripping bolts, breaking your valve cover. And they were barely hand tight when I was taking them loose. So but those junction points there, that RTV will fill that place in, because that's where it's going to try to leak at. The gasket will do its job everywhere else. Okay, I'm just going to barely snug these down for now. Just kind of going a crisscross, starting from the middle. This is the main area. I really don't want to just crank down on a lot right here, because I got that silicone. It'll just squish it everywhere. Let it set up a little bit. And you'll have to go back through here, so you start from the middle and you zigzag, and it'll kind of you'll notice it'll loosen up and you'll have to go back and kind of snug the edges. I'm going to call that good for right now. Okay, let's go ahead and get these. Okay, and then remember this connector, you just push it down on there till it clicks. That's all there is to that. I'm going to go ahead and slip this on down here and retighten it. Okay, and I'll just use a flat or an 8mm there. Okay, we can go ahead and start reconnecting our wires. And it just attaches back in here. And these pretty much will only go one way. Okay, and that's all there is to it. One thing I would point out I didn't mention, before you start this job, take and blow this off real well. Try to clean it up, take a vacuum to it, and clean around this area because it's probably going to be really filthy and dusty, and you don't want that going down into the engine there. So make sure that you clean this good and you avoid any contaminants getting into the cylinder head. Okay, so go ahead and reconnect your negative cable. Okay, so that's going to do it on this video, replacing the valve cover gasket. Very easy job. You could probably do this in about 30 minutes. The valve cover itself is only like $20. So said, you know, you may need some RTV as well if you don't have any. But anyways, a really simple job. Hopefully this can help somebody out. If you found it helpful, please give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so. As always, I invite you to subscribe, and thank you for watching.